welcome to Whips in the Dungeon 101.35. Today we're going to talk about consent. This particular video is the YouTube version of 101.35, and today we're going to be using a sheepskin as illustrative of the whip catcher that we're playing with. There's really two types of consent. There's implied consent and there's explicit consent. The very first time we play with anyone, we should be working off of the concept of explicit consent. So we negotiate before we start a whip scene. Then when the whip scene starts and we start playing with controlled puffs, we're going to say we're going to warm up 1, 2, 3, 4. As we're warming up, I check in with the whip catcher. I ask them on their pain scale of 1 to 10 where that is. And they tell me, and each time I check in, I get explicit consent to continue with the play, continue with the whip scene. So I throw again, I throw some more, and after we've gone up a little more intensity, I check in again, I find out where I'm at, and at each point of the check-in throughout that play, I'm gaining explicit consent to continue. And of course, we're playing with safe words, and the international, almost universal safe words are green, yellow, and red, red being stop the scene. And the goal is to play, have fun, and not ever get a red and not ever have the scene stop. And to be careful of the yellows, and the green lights are again, that explicit consent to continue to play. So what is implicit consent? That's a little bit more slippery slope, and I personally don't play with implicit consent until I've played with a whip catcher a half dozen to a dozen times successfully. We know each other, we have good communication, and I know what to expect from a whip scene with them, and they know what to expect from a whip scene from me, and we can just negotiate before the scene starts, play, and it be implied that we're going to just use the three safe words, green, yellow, and red, and have a great scene. So that's it for consent. One of my personal pet peeves is don't hit anything you can't see. So if you don't hit through clothes, how can you have consent? Let's say you negotiated, you weren't going to have any marks. How can you have consent in play if you're hitting through clothes? So only hit bare skin, something that you can see and you know what the whip is doing to your whip catcher, and you can keep your whip catcher safe and you can play safely. Today's key word is oil tanned hide.